Welcome to Vegas Live with Ninon. I'm Ninon, your host, and I'm at Quirky Minds Media. They've actually lent us their studios because, as you know, what's going on. Vegas is sort of kind of shut down, and the Peppermill can only take in 25%. So sort of our whole crew is sort of bigger than that. So unfortunately, but then we've got this studio now, so we got very fortunate. It's absolutely amazing. I have a young lady with me, as you know. I do not pre-interview any of my guests, so I have Hydeia with me, and I have no idea. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. But you're not in the entertainment business. You're not a writer. She's none of those. She's something a little different. What do you do?
I am an HIV/AIDS activist. I was born HIV infected. I'm a part of the first generation of children that were born. The doctor said I wouldn't live past the age of 5 when I was diagnosed at 3. And back then we only had what they knew was AIDS. They didn't know about HIV. They didn't know
about any of that.
They didn't have the research.
So they didn't find this out till you, what, 3 years old? And you were born with it?
Correct.
And nobody knew you had it?
Right. And then they tested me and it came back that I was positive. And the doctors, at that time, because there was no hope and the medication wasn't even on the market
that was
yet.
the beginning of it, right?
That was the very beginning. So I'm a part of the first generation. So I've been through, like, the high and the
highs and the lows and
yes.
How has it affected you? You don't have it now, right? Is it dormant?
I have HIV. Once you have an AIDS diagnosis, you always technically have an AIDS diagnosis.
Okay.
But what we technically say is HIV positive, but undetectable.
Undetectable.
Yes, undetectable means untransmittable. So U equals U. So that's we want to get people to get in treatment if they are positive and seek treatment and stay on treatment because it prolongs your life. And also, I can get married and have a baby naturally while on my medicine.
While you're on your medicine.
Yes.
So how has it affected you? How do you feel of having HIV since the time you were born until you are now? How do you actually feel about that as a human being? You've got to have your ups and downs.
You have ups and downs. You have hard days where, you know, the medication could be messing with you. Sometimes you may have somebody, because I do a lot.
Or somebody else messing with you.
Yeah, I do a lot of social activism online.
Yeah.
And I'm very unapologetic with my sexiness and what I put online, because I want women to know you can be sexy, you can be powerful.
You could still be a woman.
Right, with your HIV status, because for so long we were told we can't be any of those things. We can't be outgoing. We were kind of shunned off to the side. So now here I am.
Like nobody would have anything to do with you.
Right, exactly. And now
putting it bluntly, because that's exactly how it is.
Here it is.
But you're out there, and so you decided to actually go into it and actually sort of, you know, help other people as of your work.
Well, God did that for me. I didn't do it because
God's amazing, isn't he,
yes,
today? He's out there today, that's for sure.
I was at a conference speaking with my mom, and I told her she forgot to say something. And she said, well, why don't you say it? And so I got on the mic and started speaking. And from then, I did a video with social workers, with the National Institute of Health, NIH, with Dr. Anthony Fauci. He was
Anthony Fauci, really?
He was my doctor.
He was your doctor?
Yes, he was.
That's a very well-known name right now, isn't it?
Yes, it was. So I was at NIH, a patient, and being on protocol and kind of saved my life. Yeah.
And so, saving your life, did you feel your life was going to be saved, or did you feel, because at 3 years old you found out, you had no idea what it was, why it was, how it was. But growing up into your teens, it must have been, was it hard for you getting, you know, having HIV and having all this, and other people finding out? Did you find that other children sort of made fun of you, or they sort of stayed away from you?
High school was kind of hard. You had kids that were mean to you. There were guys that would be attracted to me. And
because you're a very pretty lady.
Oh, thank you. If someone would say something, they would be offended or ashamed. But you were open. I had been on Oprah, I had been on 2020, I did Maury, all those talk shows.
Yeah.
So there's no way to deny my status, and I wasn't going to deny it, because I was taught early on that if someone had a problem with you, it was their problem, because I wasn't going anywhere. And just because something was different in my blood doesn't mean you get to treat me any different.
Any different, absolutely. That must have been. So how did you manage to get over that? I mean, you must have not liked a lot of people.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I still
don't like a lot of people. I agree with that one. That's in anything. I'm a talk show host, and everybody wants to be like me, and there's a lot of people trying to, you know what people are like,
Yes.
But I always, my philosophy about people that I don't get on with is nothing wrong with them. It's just that you don't get on. They probably don't like me, and I don't like them, but that doesn't make them a bad person, which doesn't make you a bad person. You didn't ask to be born with this. You had to grow through it.
Right.
Now, you're not married yet?
No, I'm not. I'm dating.
Are you dating?
Yes.
And how is your fiance? No, not
I
yet. Not
I
yet.
have nothing.
Nothing
I don't
yet.
even have a boyfriend yet. Not official.
Not official.
I'm just
nothing.
dating. Just figuring it out,
And he obviously knows your situation, and he's comfortable with it.
Yeah, there is. I'm actually on Tinder, and so I put it right on my profile, like HIV-positive. U equals you. Ask questions. Treatment as prevention.
Because you've got to feel very comfortable in your own skin, then.
You have to, because I can't hide it. It's what I do, and I'd rather someone know up front so I can see what kind of.
So you don't have to sort of, I better tell him now, or I better tell her later, or I don't know. You don't do that.
Yeah, I used to have a 3-date rule, but now it's like
you don't care anymore. You just come out with it.
I just feel them out.
You're comfortable. How is HIV doing anyway now? Because you don't have much about it on the media. You don't have much about people actually getting it.
Right.
Obviously, it's under control as far as
it's not.
It's not.
Actually.
See, it's not out there enough.
The disease, we can have the virus controlled. We know how to control that in a person's body.
Yeah.
But what is not happening is people are not getting tested. It is predominantly affecting the African American community disproportionately.
Why?
Because we're not talking about it. I think a lot of people
the young people,
it's gone away. Young people don't even really know what HIV is. They don't remember the epidemic.
That's what I'm asking you, because it seems to have gone back. You don't seem to hear of it anymore. Not anymore, but you don't hear of it as much. It's like it disappeared, but it hasn't disappeared.
People are not dying at an alarming rate. So people are not dying, and because we prolong life, it's kind of like, okay, here's a Band-Aid on it. But what we have to do is use treatment as prevention, get back into schools. Hopefully next year I will be in a school district in Vegas talking to youth. It is kind of against the law, but we can kind of work against that.
But you work around it, so at least you can give the message out there and let everybody know that it still is out there and you still can't catch it.
Right.
So you have to, and if you don't give that message, how is the young person supposed to know?
Exactly, they don't know, and then they feel sad and they have this disease and they think that their life is over. And you have me, you have Ray Lewis Thurton, you have Magic Johnson, you have so many.
Magic Johnson is Magic Johnson is a prize example of somebody that has HIV, but somebody who did not drop the career. He continued on and made an empire to let people know that you can still live, you can have it, but you can still live, you can still have a great life, like you're doing. You're having a great life.
Yes, I'm trying. I'm making it. I mean,
this is hard, but is it hard?
You know, it's hard right now because my life has totally changed. My income used to be going to be public speaking.
Yes.
I'm going places, having people invite me out.
Yeah.
And now it's turned to virtual.
Yes.
And I had to transition.
So now you're doing it on the internet.
Yeah,
and you're doing it through Zoom. Are you picking it up,
Yeah.
learning how to do all that?
Yeah. It's hard to be
it's a different way of life.
It's hard to be in the house all the time and do it. I'm like, I got to go run around the block real quick.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to traveling. I really am.
You like traveling.
Yes, I love traveling.
What is the reaction when you get up there and everybody's watching you? Especially, do you mostly in schools? Do you do mostly sort of teenage
conferences?
everything?
I've done churches. I've spoke at Bishop T.D. Jakes' church before, the Potter House. You know how big that is.
Yeah, I do know how big that is.
I spoke at Russell Simmons' Hip Hop Summit one year with all these like rap figures and. So my stages have been very unique and different, and I'm very blessed to the stages that I've been on, and look forward to the future stages I will be on.
So when you get up there and you see this great big audience, because you're a little tiny soul, you're beautiful, and you see all these people, do you get nervous or do you get worried or you think, what am I going to talk about? But you know what you're going to talk about, right?
Yeah, sometimes I get nervous. I'm not going to lie. I do get nervous. But once I get on stage and I start
talking,
it works
What
out.
is the most questions, you've got the audience out there and they're very fascinated as to what's going on with HIV. What is the most prominent questions that people ask you about, how to avoid it or how to know it?
Well, one question I always get is, do I have sex or can I have sex? And the question is yes.
Of course.
You
That's not going to go away.
And the other one is, do I know when I'm going to die? And I'm like, no one knows when they're going to die.
What a question. They really ask that?
Yes.
Can you imagine asking somebody?
Well, back in the day, they used to give people a certain amount of time
true.
to live.
That's right.
So that's why a lot of people still equate HIV or AIDS
with
as
a certain amount of time living.
And it's not a death sentence anymore. It's a manageable chronic disease.
Okay. And are you happy with what they have put forward in sort of keeping it contained? Because obviously you're saying to me you have it, but it's contained, right?
Right.
So is the progression of it being contained to your satisfaction? Or do you think they could do more?
I mean, it would be nice if we could get a cure.
Get rid of it completely? Yeah.
It would be nice if we could get a cure for it.
Well, what about Fauci? This guy Fauci, he's a Dr. Fauci. This is an amazing guy.
They've been working on it for, I think, 3 decades or more.
Yeah, then yes.
So it's a complex disease, and what HIV, it works differently in every human being. And also, for your counterparts, the disease works differently in Caucasian compared to African Americans.
See, I didn't know that. I mean, to me, all bodies are the same.
It's not.
It's not at all. Well, this is just like this COVID-19. Apparently, the African Americans are getting it more. The Africans are getting it more than we are getting it. And I'm like, why? Are you susceptible to
because we don't stay home. And we like to party.
Yeah, well, why not? Why not?
I'm just telling the truth.
What message would you like to give to the younger generation out there of how they should sort of conduct themselves to make sure they don't get this?
I would say right now is the perfect time to not have sex, practice. We should be social distancing, but if you choose to have sex, please practice safe sex. Get tested, know your status. Go with your partner, your significant other, to be tested. If you can't be tested, you should really ask yourself, is this the person I really should be giving myself to?
Absolutely. And how can they reach you?
They can reach me on my website, HydeiaBroadbent.com. I'm also on Instagram. On Instagram, I have links to my all my YouTube, Facebook, everything. And also, I'm selling these candles for World AIDS Day. Wicks candles. This is a souvenir candle, and you also get, I've been burning this so it's empty. You get a World AIDS Day candle, and also you get 2 wax melts.
How much is
It's value at $50, but if you use code word all caps Hydeia, HYDEIA, they take 25% off. And all of that will be going, a percentage of it will be going back to my company, Broadbent Communications. We are producing specials around HIV and AIDS. We just did a big World AIDS Day special. That is on my Facebook page if anyone would like to see it. We had a DJ and we had 4 other positive.
So you have a big, and when was that?
World AIDS Day was December 1st. So
December 1st was AIDS Day.
So we did
when's the next?
5th.
When's the next big
the
one
next
coming
one
around?
is February 7th, National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day.
Okay.
And so we put it in the middle of, right in the beginning of February, which is Black History Month. Because we have a high rate of HIV infection rate in the African American community. So it's important for that day to spread awareness.
Absolutely. So nobody can ever turn around to say to you and ask you, well, how did you get it? Because you were born with it. So There was not your fault. You had absolutely nothing to do with it. But you have come along and you've given your whole heart and your whole being to help others to understand what it is, why it is, and to be careful. And protection, I think that's probably the greatest thing, is protect yourself, right? Protect yourself. Thank you again for watching Vegas Live with Ninon. This has been a great inspirational time for me just to find out, because AIDS sort of kind of got lost a little bit, and it's still lost, but it's still there. And it might not, you might not get it as bad now as when it first came out, but you still get it.
Right.
So you have to be careful if you have it that you don't pass it on to somebody else. So you've got to be checked.
Right.
So you've got to make sure you're checked, so you don't want to pass it on to anybody else. Thank you for watching again. We'll be right back. If you enjoyed the last show we just did and all the other shows, don't forget to subscribe. Vegas Live with Ninon on YouTube. We've got plenty more coming up, and our guests are amazing. So don't forget to subscribe. We'll be right back. Vegas Live with Ninon.